Hello, my name is 환산스님, and I am a Sun, or Korean Zen Buddhist monastic, and I am the disciple of Sun Master Songdam. Thank you for attending. Sun Master Songdam is the most respected Buddhist master in Korea. I have been his disciple for over 20 years and his personal attendant for the past 10 years. Last year, Sun Master Songdam asked me to share the spiritual teachings of Korean Buddhism with an international audience. It seems that he was worried that the Sun meditation teachings these days are being lost among the latest health and lifestyle fads and trends. It seems that meditation in general, and even Sun meditation in particular, are being presented strictly as a way to gain so-called healing or well-being or stress relief. Now, Sun meditation does provide those benefits, but the original purpose of Sun meditation has always been and must always be enlightenment, and that's what I'm here to talk about today. Now, rather than try to get you to agree with me and persuade you to join my religion or something like that, I thought that today, instead, I might share with you the story of how I became a Sunim, or a Korean Buddhist monk. Now, I was born and raised in the United States, New York to be exact. My parents were born and raised in Korea, and they went to the United States as university students and chose to continue to live there. They met each other there, they got married there, and they raised their family there. Now, like most people of Asian descent, I was raised to study hard and go to a good college. And seeing my parents struggle in what for them was a foreign cultural environment, I thought that the least thing I could do for them was to study hard and go to a good college. And luckily, in time, both my brother and I were able to go to well-known universities. And then it seemed like the whole world had opened up for my family. I knew that with my college degree, I could get a good job, make money more easily than my parents had, meet a good person, get married, have children, buy a big house, the whole deal. It seemed like my family had attained the so-called American dream at last. But that was just my outer life. My inner life was something quite different. For as long as I can remember, I've been plagued by questions about life. Why are we born? What are we here to do or become? What happens when we die? Are we really just flesh and blood? Or is there really something more to us than that? Why does the world exist? What is its purpose? I was haunted by these issues, and so in college I chose to major in religious studies, and I ended up studying Zen Buddhism. In my junior year, I wanted to meet a real Zen master, so I began to ask around the Korean American Buddhist community. And the name that kept coming back to me was Songdam Sunim, Sun Master Songdam. So I asked, well, what's so great about him? And the answer I got was, he is a true enlightened master, a living bodhisattva. In order to attain enlightenment, he undertook a vow of silence for 10 years. 10 years. I was deeply impressed and intrigued by that. I thought, what could possibly be worth shutting your mouth for 10 years? And after having done all that, what could he have to say that was worth breaking that hard-earned silence? So I decided I wanted to meet him, and after graduation, I made the money to buy a plane ticket, and I flew over to Korea. And I arrived at Yonghwasa Buddhist Monastery, now my home temple in Incheon, in the middle of winter. And in that moment, what I thought, when I saw him, the first thing that I thought was, I don't believe this. This guy is enlightened. there really is such a thing as enlightenment. Now, I could talk about Sun Master Songdam for the rest of the day, and I wouldn't be able to convey what it is about him that made me think and feel in that way. This happened 25 years ago, and my perception of him hasn't changed at all. Even now, as his attendant, when I meet him, every time I meet him, something in me still catches its breath, and I think, this guy is enlightened. This guy is enlightened. Over the years, my respect for and belief in his attainment have only grown. Now, I do know how this sounds. It's not good form for a disciple to overly praise or brag about his master. And all I can say is that these things really do happen. The most amazing people really do live in this world. On that day, Sun Master Songdam, the day that I met him, Sun Master Songdam said to me, given your life circumstances, you could get a good job, get married, make a lot of money, and everyone would call you a success. But in your own heart, you will always feel alienated and alone and empty. On the other hand, you could cut your hair, become a Sunim, learn how to meditate, and go out and get the answer to your questions for yourself. Now, you have to remember that I was 22 years old at the time, and I thought, I'm still young, and you only get to be young once. And this guy wants me to shave my head and become a monk and come live with him in Korea. So I told him, I'd think about it. And I went back to the United States. And once I was back in the United States, in New York, all I wanted to do was get back to my old life. I just wanted to lose myself in the glamour and thrills of the city. But I couldn't forget what I had seen. I kept thinking, but he had the courage of his convictions. He did what he believed in. He lived up to his beliefs. And so over time, I found that all of my books and my life plans and all the fun that I was supposed to be having, all of that lost its flavor for me. And I realized that I really did need the answers to those questions. Without those answers, I would always feel a void, a kind of emptiness inside. And I knew that that's also what I would see in the world around me, just a void and an emptiness. So I chose to return to Sun Master Songdam, and that's actually what my name means. My name is Hwan, and Hwan means return to the mountain. And in a sense, that's what I've been trying to do ever since. Now, an interesting anecdote, maybe. But what can enlightenment really do for us in the lives that we lead? What can enlightenment do for us who live here in the 21st century? In order to understand the answer to that question, we first need a working definition of what enlightenment is. Now, traditionally, enlightenment is said to be inexpressible in language and unknowable to the unenlightened mind. But for practical purposes, the Sun Masters of the past have taught that enlightenment can be provisionally understood as a direct spiritual awakening to one's own nature, to one's true self, Sun Master Songdam himself tells us that you become enlightened to the source of your existence, which, as it turns out, is also the source of all things, the universe itself. So again, why would ordinary people like ourselves need such a cosmic spiritual awakening? Why can't we be happy and fulfilled without enlightenment? Why isn't it enough just to try to enjoy life and be grateful for what we have and try to be a good person? The answer, according to the ancient Sun Masters, is that without direct spiritual awakening, no matter how much you think you may believe in things like spirituality and enlightenment, the Buddha, your soul, the true self, whatever you want to call it, in your actual day-to-day life, what you truly experience as yourself are your thoughts, your emotions, and your physical sensations. Since birth, this is all that we have ever known of ourselves. And without sun meditation or some other form of authentic spiritual practice, this is all we can ever know of our own existence. Our thoughts, our emotions, and our physical sensations. Now, all these things are rooted in the body. And as long as we think that we are strictly our bodies, then we must live in the constant awareness and fear that our bodies, meaning us, must eventually die. And we don't even know when this is going to happen. We could die next year. We could also die next month. We could die tomorrow. We could even die tonight. This is why the ancient Sun Masters have always said, life and death hang in the balance of every breath we take. It's only enlightenment that can free us from this constant underlying anxiety, this dread of the unknown. What happens when I die? What, if anything, happens afterward? Now, enlightenment, even so, enlightenment is more than just the removal of our fear of our own mortality. The Sun Masters tell us that enlightenment is also eternal happiness. Direct insight into the nature of reality, the actualization of our unlimited ability to love without fear or doubt or condition, and the realization of hidden, literally unimaginable potentialities of our bodies, our minds, and even beyond. Why is it crazy or unreasonable or a waste of time to consider that being human might be much more than we assume? Why are we so eager to place limitations on ourselves? Where is our spirit of exploration, creativity, experimentation, and progress? Sun meditation is not about this or that religious institution. Sun meditation is about living, learning how to live at our full potential. So then, how do you meditate? Now, because of the time constraints of this program, today I will not be able to share with you the full technique of formal sun meditation practice. Instead, I thought that I might introduce you to a meditative exercise called breath counting meditation. Breath counting meditation is traditionally used in Sun Buddhism for beginning meditators to develop the mental and physical clarity, focus, and stability necessary for actual sun meditation practice. So I think that that's also a good place for us modern day practitioners to begin. Now, what we'll do is we'll take a break, and when we come back, we will begin to learn how to meditate together.